What's up, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. Happy Tuesday. Welcome into our live show. It's great to see you all once again. Obviously, middle of summer, lots of dead period right now for the Denver Broncos. However, today you asked for it. I'm delivering it. We are going completely Moose's predictions and Moose's topics here for what I believe are some hot takes for the Denver Broncos and who the toughest matchups are for the Broncos heading into the 2025 season. Now, before we start with anything, of course, you got to let it build up. Got to let it swell a little bit. So let me ask you this. What are your big summer plans now that we are officially in summer? I got to tell you what mine is right off the bat. You ready? My bachelor party. That's the first thing, Mr. Dilly. That takes place between July 18th and July 21st, so coming up here in just about a month. And I also, on Labor Day weekend, am getting married. Yes, I am tying the knot. This is no longer going to be a bare finger, ladies and gentlemen. I have obligations to the woman that I said, or will say, I do too. So what are your big summer plans? I'm going to give some shout-outs down in the comment section down below. What up, Free? Joshua Kirby saying, let's go. Whoa! DB4L. Bang! We got our first $50 super chat in the house from our guy, Boss Man Jay, right off the bat. That is insane work. Everybody spam Jay in the chat below. Dilly, you got to jump on the mic, man. When we get a bang, dude, you got to jump on in. Let's go. Let's go. Boxcar, what up to you, my friend? There you go. Ty Man with the bang. Oh, my God, that is insanity. We're going to get you right up on screen here in just a second, boss man. I appreciate you, my dude. That's nuts. Aiden says he's moving. Where are you moving to, Aiden? Are you moving down the street? Are you moving to a different city? Where are you moving to, my friend? Noah, spamming those J's. This is absolutely nuts. What a way to start off the show. That just puts a little pep in my step. It's also probably because of the Red Bull that I'm drinking. Today was one of those days. You guys ever have one of those days where, like, you wake up and you just can't think straight? Dylan, I swear to God, this morning I get up, I wake up, right, take my shower, do my normal getting dressed routine, brush my teeth, do my hair, whatever. I swear to God, for 10 minutes, I looked for all of my clean clothes, all of them, before I realized that they were in the laundry basket in my room. I looked all over the house, couldn't find them. I was like, I guess I'm wearing dirty clothes today. And it didn't even occur to me that they could be in my room. It was unbelievable. Pennsylvania to Fort Collins. Let's go, Aiden. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that, my friend. Our first $50 super chat from our guy, Boss Man Jay. What's up, Moose? Give me your thoughts on the chance of both Dobbins and Harvey eclipsing 1,000 yards from scrimmage. It's low, but I will say this. It's actually one of my hot takes, and I'm going to leave it kind of ambiguous right now, but one of the guys that you just mentioned, I have eclipsing 1,200 yards from scrimmage this year coming up in one of my segments. But I will say this. To have two players go over 1,000 yards of scrimmage, it's not impossible. But it is tough considering you would have to almost split them perfectly 50-50, right? Or at least you would think. That's the kind of the mentality you'd have to have, is that both Harvey and Dobbins would have to have almost 50% of the snaps divvied up equally, and that doesn't leave room for guys like Jaleel McLaughlin or Audric Estime. So the odds of it happening, low, I would say below 10%, but not impossible. So I appreciate your $50 super chat, boss man. You're a legend. You're a real one. Cannot wait for the 2025 season to get started, man. I got to tell you, I don't know about you guys. I was just talking to my dad and a bunch of guys here at Chat Sports. I cannot wait for football to start. I feel like right around this time, up until about August 1st, I am just antsy to see guys in pads, even in preseason games. I just want football to be back. And I know you guys too. Right now, what sports are going on besides baseball? NBA Finals just ended. It's just baseball.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a bad time for sports, I got to tell you. Rivera says keeping Broncos country represented in Northern California. That's what I like to see. Mike says, can I predict that the Broncos defense will get 70-plus team sacks and 30 interceptions? Too bold. Not crazy. I flirted with the idea of the Broncos maybe getting 70, and then I kind of did the math on it, and I thought right then and there. I was like, I don't know if I want to go with that for one of my bold predictions. 60? Absolutely. It's going to happen. I don't necessarily know 70 is going to make it work, though. T-Mac says, good evening, Moose. Hell of a job. Keep up the great work. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. I really do. It means a lot. What's poppin', Moose, says Noah. Great job taking over. Couldn't be happier. Doing an amazing job. Again, guys, the kind words, I really appreciate that. By the way, Matthew Peterson is still on board at Chat Sports. He is currently doing the Browns channel from his house while we try to figure out another Browns host here at Chat Sports. He is kind of splitting off, I guess is the word to say, into his own career field. We wish him nothing but the best. I actually still keep up with PD a little bit to this day, and I kind of pick his brain on stuff like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Because he covered the Broncos for 3 years. So having his mind to kind of pick and kind of go back and forth on content ideas, something that I try to do from time to time, and still a Chat Sports legend here. So we will, of course, miss PD when he is 100% completely gone. All right. Give me your bold Broncos prediction. I want to hear it. Let's go right in the chat down below. I want to hear what your bold prediction is. Boss Man Jay already gave his, and I'm pretty sure it was that both Harvey and Dobbins go over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, which is not a crazy take. I actually really like it. So let me know what your bold take is before we get started with today's segments. We got 41 people watching. Somebody's got to have a bold take. Somebody's got to have a crazy take. I'll give some shout-outs, too, by the way. Dilly, jump on that mic, sir. You potted up?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear Dylan? Keep talking, Dylan, real quick.
Hey, everyone. How we doing?
Can you guys hear Dylan? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up.
Also get on camera.
Yeah, why don't you do that real quick? Because I want to make sure that all the mics are working. Aiden says Bo Nix finishes top 5 in MVP voting. Joshua says Nix throws for 4,500 yards. That's crazy. Megatron says, I think Harvey goes 900 yards with 8 TDs. I love the way you think, and you're going to love the way I think. My bold take is that we start the season 4-0. Number 1 defense in the NFL. Team Mac. Yeah, okay, so they can hear you. You're good.
Okay.
If you still want to get on camera, you totally can. Say hello to the people if you want. Although that wasn't your name. That's funny.
I changed it.
Yeah, I saw that. Average score of greater than 28 points per game. We're talking tops in the NFL. Wow. That's a hot take. I love it. Mark says Broncos Bo Nix 50-plus touchdowns. That's nutty. That's nutty, Dylan.
It's not impossible.
No, it's not impossible, but it's crazy. It's out there. Considering how many, I think only 5 quarterbacks have done it?
I mean, Mahomes was the most
Mahomes,
recent.
Manning, Breeze,
Brady,
and who's the other one? There's one more.
Rodgers.
No, I don't know if Rodgers ever did it.
Yeah,
Maybe did he really? He had over 50?
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe Favre. Favre might have done it. Either way, we'll come. That's a different show, different topic, different day. All right. We've got a lot going on right now. Julian says Knicks for 4,500 yards, 38 touchdowns, 3 picks, 400 yards rushing. That's almost 5,000 scrimmage yards. That's insanity. All right, so coming up on today's show, you guys asked for it. I delivered it. Bold predictions for the Broncos coming up here in 2025. I've got 3 of them, and I feel like these are hot takes that a lot of people will disagree with, but also could end up happening. I feel like I kind of want to draw that fine line. I want to walk it as to it. I don't want to go and say something outlandish that will never happen. but I also don't want to give a lukewarm take. So I tried to find something right in the middle for you guys. I think you're going to like the 3 that I pick. Then the 5 toughest matchups for the Broncos heading into 2025. 5 teams, I believe, are going to give the Broncos the most fits this upcoming season. Spoiler, one of them is the Philadelphia Eagles. That's all I'm going to say about it. And then an updated plan for Drew Sanders. Sean Payton recently spoke about what he views as kind of the Broncos' secret weapon on their defense. And he listed Drew Sanders, and I've got some thoughts of my own on that and what I believe Drew Sanders is going to end up being in terms of his role on this defense, considering who we've brought in and what our defense currently looks like. So those are the 3 segments. You'll notice there's no mailbag today. That was by design because I wanted to give you guys even more content. We're starting off strong. Remember, just like Boss Man Jay, if you want to throw that back up real quick for me, Dylan. Super chatting is greatly encouraged. It does help the channel grow, and it helps us get more Broncos gear for you guys in the 2025 season. So if you want a Broncos jersey, if you want Broncos hats, if you want Broncos breakdown hats, by the way, I was talking to my boss about this. Dylan knows this to be true. I was talking to my boss about this yesterday. He claims that the more and more revenue that we gain, if he sees a uptick in revenue, there is a chance that we could get some Broncos breakdown merch, some actual channel merch to give to you guys on the channel, and I think that's freaking awesome. Can't wait for that. So obviously, super chatting definitely helps with that. It is not mandatory. You don't have to, although it greatly helps. The only thing that I would ask you to do is, for free, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and like today's stream. Okay, Dylan, how close are we to being ready, my friend? We're all good? How about this? We got 47 people watching right now. Once we hit 30 likes, we're going to start. Once we hit 30 likes, we'll press play. Cheers to all of you. I'm drinking my Red Bull today. Feeling good. Loving it. Oh, man. You guys enjoying the weather out there in Denver? Right now, it's hot in Dallas. The humidity is starting to kick up. What about Broncos bracelets, says Megatron? It's a possibility. Again, like I said, if you guys super chat and we start to, see a little bit extra, money, and obviously it's not just super chatting, right? Like we make money off of our videos and our streams, so it's my job to raise money as well, but you guys super chatting goes a long way into us, making sure that we have sweet gear to give you guys and raffle off during the 2025 season. Spoilers, I'm thinking some Pat Surtain jerseys, some Bo Nix jerseys, maybe some RJ Harvey jerseys to give away this year. I'm just kind of spitballing right now. Okay, we've wasted enough time. I apologize for rambling. Let's get into our very first segment, which is all about Broncos hot takes for the 2025 NFL season. Welcome in, Broncos country, to the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. We are officially at that period right now where there's not a lot of football to talk about, but this is really where we start to see all of the opinions and all of the hot takes start to brew. So I decided to follow that same trend. 3 hot Broncos takes for the 2025 season. Now, just as a kind of an FYI, my goal was to kind of walk the fine line between something outlandish and something that is kind of based in fact, kind of combine the two together, something that is kind of out there, but also could happen. So we're going to get into that here in just a second. I do want to start with a quote that ESPN's Jeff Legwold kind of wrote, and he's an ESPN analyst, writer type guy. And he basically just says that after they ended their 8-year playoff drought, talking about the Broncos last season, thanks to the top defense, many in the league believed that Denver would focus on reeling in more offensive impact players to surround the emerging quarterback, Bo Nix. But they went into a different direction by doubling down on defense. And if you go on to read the article, the take just kind of sits like this. It's just basically the Broncos need more offensive weapons. And I don't really agree with him, considering that the Broncos were really, really young on offense last year. That's neither here nor there, though. But I do want to mention that out of my hot takes today, 2 of them are offense. 1 is on defense. So 3 bold predictions ahead of the 2025 season. 2 offensively, 1 defensively, and my goal is to hit 2 out of the 3. So obviously you want to hit 3 out of the 3 and be 100%, right? But my goal is 67%. If I hit on 2 out of these 3 bold takes, I'm going to be a happy camper. Now, before I get to my very first one, tell me your Broncos hot take in the comment section down below. It could be anything. I want the most outlandish thing that you have to say. Either way, just write it down in the comment section down below. I should see at least 50 hot takes in that comment section. Okay, let's get to our very first hot take. And, of course, we're going to start with the offense. The first one being Bo Nix finishes top 5 in MVP voting. Now, you've probably heard me spout a couple of these takes before, especially when it comes to Bo Nix finishing top 5 in 2025. But I just want to take a step back and kind of revisit 2024. First couple of weeks, it was tough. Growing pains, rookie growing pains, the speed and athleticism of the NFL clearly was on display and one of the things that he had to overcome. However, I do feel like that after that week 4, so week 5 to week 17, you really saw the maturation process of Bo Nix. You really saw Nix find his groove and start to understand not only Sean Payton's offense, but how the NFL game is played. No longer are you the best player on the field. You come into being one of the worst or having to prove to be one of the best players on the field. Whereas in college, you step onto the field that last year in Oregon, he was better than like 93% of all the other players that he was around. So ESPN came out with their projection for what Bo Nix's stat line was going to look like in 2025. This is his second-year stat line projection. 4,000 passing yards, I'm okay with that. 27 passing touchdowns to 12 interceptions. This take blows more than wind, guys. It sucks. So you mean to tell me that with a better Broncos offense, Evan Ingram now is a weapon, a better running game, receivers getting older, and Bo Nix heading into year 2 with Sean Payton, he's going to have worse numbers than he did last year. You're out of your freaking mind. So, as always, I had to give my projections. Here's my prediction. 67.3% completion percentage. 4,000 passing yards. I like that one. That's okay. I'll let it sit. Passing touchdowns, 33. Interceptions, 9. And I feel like these numbers are good enough for top 5 in MVP voting. I don't necessarily know that he's going to win it, considering the guys that you'd be going up against, at least in my opinion. I get that this is maybe kind of a chalk take, but here are my 5 that I have as my predictions for MVP candidates this year. Again, I don't know who wins it. Way too early to tell. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, and Saquon Barkley. All 5 of these players have basically shown severe trending upwards. Saquon last year, in my opinion, probably should have won it, considering he had one of the greatest rushing seasons I've ever seen and that the NFL has ever seen. But, again, different conversation for a different day. This is just who I have right now in my MVP voting. Now, again, I feel like this is one of those takes where you could look at it and you can go, is that necessarily a super hot take, Moose, considering what Bo was able to do? And my answer to that is no, because there's a lot of disrespect right now surrounding Bo Nix, and I'm tired of it. So I got to ask you the same question. Will he finish top 5 in MVP voting? Yes or no? I feel like outside of Broncos fans, everyone just views Bo Nix as like a slightly bigger version of Brock Purdy, and that is insane to me. So that's where my first prediction sort of sits as it is right now. My second prediction, also on offense and surrounding one of our most recent draft picks. But before I get to that, let me tell you about our friends at Fanatics real quick. They definitely have shown out for the 4th of July, which is right around the corner. And this Broncos 4th of July t-shirt is $29.99 right now, guys. That is a great deal if you want to not only support your favorite team, but the country that you live in. I love this flag, and I love this team. Combine the two together, it's the perfect storm. So I put this this link in the comments and description of today's video. Made it super simple for you. All you got to do is click on it and start shopping right now with our friends at Fanatics today. It's a pretty sweet shirt, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I think I might end up splurging on this when I head up to Minnesota for the 4th of July for my fiance's family. But again, They don't really love the Broncos. We'll just put it out like that. All right, so my second hot take. R.J. Harvey to finish with over 1,200 scrimmage yards in 2025, his rookie season. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of analysts that will look at it and go, out of all the guys that were taken as running backs this year, you have R.J. Harvey finishing with over 1,200 scrimmage yards. Yes, I do. And I'll say that because Sean Payton's vision for this running back room is so clear to me. J.K. Dobbins will be your 1A. He'll be your primary back to lower the shoulder, go north to south, and just truck guys. Try to make sure that you maximize that first down carry. R.J. Harvey is going to be used differently. He will be used as a lead back, but you're also going to line him up in the slot. He'll also be the back that you go out for more passes. Now, Dobbins himself has really good hands, but R.J. Harvey, not to throw the J word around, the Joker is what Sean Payton kind of envisions him as. That kind of next coming of Alvin Kamara, although R.J. Harvey, in my opinion, is already a better runner than Kamara. Now, I decided to go out of the big three that were, in our division, Ashton Jeanty, Omarion Hampton, and R.J. Harvey, all three rookies, I decided to predict their stat lines as well. So this is my predictions. As you can see, not a single one of them, I believe, goes over 1,000 yards, simply because the way that each team is kind of built, there's going to be this running back cut by committee sort of deal. Najee Harris, obviously, in Los Angeles, and then Raheem Mostert has proven to be a solid NFL running back along with Ashton Jeanty. But I don't think R.J. Harvey is going to be that far behind Ashton Jeanty in terms of rushing yards. I absolutely believe that he can have the best rookie season out of any of these three players, just simply based off the coaching that we've got. I mean, Sean Payton's offense, he's a mastermind. The only one that I could maybe argue is better is Andy Reid. And here's my full prediction for what R.J. Harvey's stat line is going to look like. I'm just throwing it out there for you. 229 carries, 962 yards, 6 touchdowns on the ground, 31 receptions for another 291 yards, totaling 1,253 yards. So if I had to ask you, do you believe that that is a pretty good stat line? And if I also had to ask you to pick a running back for me, which one would you choose? I should see one answer and one answer only. But if you've got a different one, let me know in the comments down below. Ashton Jeanty, AJ, Omarion Hampton, OH, or RJ Harvey, type RJ. Let's get into my last hot take. The Broncos defense will allow less than 17 opponents' points per game. Yes, the Broncos were third last year in opponents' points per game, behind, believe it or not, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Philadelphia Eagles, who, by the way, were Super Bowl champs. But it's not that much farther. It's actually only 0.6 points behind. So I think that after what we saw last year from the Broncos defense, which has only gotten better, you could be looking at one of the best statistical defenses the NFL has seen in maybe 20 years. And it is easily, on paper, the best defense in the NFL. I think we can all agree on that. But how good is great? That's going to be the question that Broncos fans are going to have to answer. Like, what is the ceiling of this team on defense? I have no idea. I know what it was last year. I know that on paper we've gotten even better. And it starts with the front five. It starts with the pass rushers, the guys that get after the quarterback. Cooper, Allen, JFM, Nick Bonito. All four of those guys I'm expecting huge, huge numbers from. And then it also got better in free agency when we went out and beefed up our defensive backfield. We've already got the best corner in the game, guys. We drafted Jahdae Barron. He's going to end up probably starting at that nickel slot corner position. Brandon Jones had the best statistical season of his entire career last year. Talanoa Hufanga, one of the hardest hitting safety free agents. We went and picked him up. And Riley Moss is still a very solid cornerback too. All of those things combined lead me to believe that this is the most skilled defense in the NFL. And yes, I'm including that with the Super Bowl defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. So those are my three hot takes. If you agree with them, Let me know in the comment section down below. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you do. And you can also follow me on X and on Instagram. I'm trying to grow my platform. I talk about the Broncos all day, every single day. Same handle for both. Made it super easy for you. So give me a follow on X and give me a follow on Insta if you would like. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown. My name is Moose, and as always, be cool. What do you think about those, Dilly? You like those? Hot enough for you?
I think they were definitely hot enough.
Those were some... I thought they were pretty hot takes. I don't know about you guys. Like I said, I tried to make sure that I kind of walked the fine line between hot and, like, you know, I didn't want to say anything outlandish, right? Like, you never want to go out and be like, Bo Nix is going to throw for 6,000 yards and throw for 50 touchdowns. Like, let's be real here. But I feel like all three of those takes could absolutely turn out to be true. Boxcar says, yes, that's hot, Moose. Super hot fire. All right, guys. You guys have been amazing, by the way, for my first 6 weeks. And believe it or not, Dilly, Sunday was my 6-week anniversary. Not that anybody's counting. But my 6-week anniversary for taking over the Broncos channel. I took over on May 11th. Since then, we have gained so many new subscribers. Almost 1,400 new subs in 6 weeks. For the dead months, that's pretty special. And I got to hand it to the Broncos fans out here. Some of the best in the NFL. I got to clap it up to you guys. I got to give you guys a special shout out. You guys have been amazing. Our next goal is obviously 37,000 subscribers. I would like to get there before our well, hold on. What's today? The 24th?
Yeah,
I would
June
like to
24th.
get there before training camp begins, which is on July 16th. That gives us 3 weeks to do it. So I would like to get to 37. Obviously, kind of a lofty goal. That's 421 if I'm doing my math correctly. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It is completely free. We will never charge you. God, I cannot talk right now. I've got all this gas coming up from the Red Bull. We'll never charge you a single thing. And if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that sub button. If you have subscribed, like the video and type me down in the comment section down below. I'm going to give some quick shout outs before we start our second segment. .421 is correct. Look at me. I'm like math is just, it's mathing right now for me. And by the way, that was my worst subject. That's the word in school. I suck at math. What was your best?
Say math, probably.
You sucked at math?
No, you said what was your best?
Oh, sorry. That's my bad. You were great at math?
Algebra was my thing.
Oh, yeah. See, that ain't me.
Yeah.
Conservative Patriot says, yo.
Say science was my worst.
I was okay at science. I always got B's in science. My best was history. I don't think I ever got less than an A in history, ever. It was something that I was actually I liked to learn about. I liked reading about things that happened in the past. Colorado Straight Flush, always the most insightful news and convos here. Thanks, Trace. No problem, my friend. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Okay. Let's get ready to start our second our second segment here, which is all about the Broncos' top 5 hardest matchups in 2025. 5 different opponents. All of them are going to give the Broncos at least some fits on the football field, considering how good each one of these teams is. Well, that's a lie. I lied to you. One of the teams is not good, but the location is tough. I can't believe I just flat out lied to him. That was terrible. I apologize. All right. We have some people giving, oh, by the way, Bossman J says, Broncos serious. Oh, congratulations to you and your fiance. Wishing you nothing but good things. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. It's been a long time coming. We've been together for almost 5 years. So I remember there was a point last year where 2 years ago, where she was like, if you don't start thinking about asking me I'm going to start thinking about leaving. And I don't know that she was dead serious about it. Like, she more said it tongue-in-cheek. But she was definitely serious about, like, hey, like, we've been together for quite some time now. You better start thinking about asking me. Like, because let's get the show on the road here. Couldn't blame her. Could not blame her. Okay. Ready to rock and roll, Dilly? Let's do it. All right. The top 5 hardest matchups for the Broncos heading into the 2025 season. Before we start today's episode, I got to clap it up to you guys. You have done an amazing job showing up for the metric side of this channel. We broke the June like record. We broke the June subs record. We are this close to beating the May like record with 4,000 likes away. We can absolutely do it before the end of June. And we are 25 subscribers away from the May subs record of this year as well, which is insane to think. So shout out to you guys. Hit that like button and hit subscribe. It helps grow the channel. So I was thinking about the Denver Broncos 2025 schedule, and I wanted to do something that kind of was a little bit out of the box. I wanted to talk about the Broncos' opponents in 2025, because while there's a lot of people that believe that this is a very tough schedule, I'm not so sure that with how good the Broncos look on paper, that this schedule is all that daunting. Sure, there are some tough matchups to think about, 5 of them in particular. But I don't know that the Broncos' 12-5 season is out of the realm of possibilities, because the Broncos should be a top 10, maybe top 5 team in the NFL this year. So let's start with the toughest matchup of them all. It's actually the first matchup that the Broncos face on this schedule. Philadelphia Eagles on October 5th. And the reason I say that this is the toughest is obviously because not only are they the defending Super Bowl champions, but they have probably the most loaded roster in the NFL. I mean, on both sides of the football. Offensively and defensively combined, the Eagles probably have, if not the best, the second or third best in the entirety of the league. So let's talk about the matchup real quick, because what I kind of want to do in this episode is highlight the strengths of each of the teams without talking about the Broncos at all. Now, obviously, we will make sure that we kind of give a little bit of a breakdown here as to who is going to win or lose this game, in my opinion. But let's start with Philly's strengths. So these are the 5 players that I've highlighted that are probably the best on the Philadelphia Eagles, at least right now. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Zach Bond, Nolan Smith, and Jalen Carter. This defense is probably second best in the NFL outside of the Broncos. It is a very good defense. You saw what they were able to do last year to the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They went after Mahomes and made his life a living hell. I do want to highlight one player in particular. You know who I'm about to talk about, Saquon. He was unbelievable last year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is a Hall of Famer developing before your very eyes. This was easily one of the greatest rushing statistic seasons I have ever seen. 13 touchdowns, over 2,000 rushing yards, an 85 PFF grade, and 20-plus runs. He did that 17 times. That's nuts. So again, this is a very tough matchup for the Broncos. Now, I do want to make sure that I give my prediction as to who I believe is going to win this game. Unfortunately, this is one of the games I have the Broncos losing. I have them losing 24-17. I think it's close. I think it's lower scoring. And I think this is clearly a battle between 2 heavyweights in the NFL. But I do think that the Eagles squeak it out and win 24-17. Let's go to the very next week, actually, week 6, against the New York Jets. Moose, the Jets are not a good team. How are they a tough matchup? Well, we got to go across the pond. Yeo, governor, over in England, isn't it? Yeah, we have to play in London. And that's always tough no matter who you play, because the jet lag that you're going to face is crazy. You play at 7:30 in the morning in U.S. times. It's going to be a really, really tough experience. The team itself should not be hard to handle, considering that it's the Jets, right? But, again, I will do the exact same thing that I did for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's highlight their strengths. There's 4 for the Jets that I have in my mind. Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, and Quinnen Williams. Now, Justin Fields is now the starting quarterback for the New York Jets, but let's be real. Outside of his one-read approach, he's not that great of a quarterback. He's a hell of an athlete, can make moves with his legs, which you're going to have to watch out for. But the one player that I want to highlight is Garrett Wilson. A clear wide receiver one of the top 10 wide receivers, in my opinion, in the NFL. He just hasn't had great quarterback play. But once you get him, a guy like Justin Fields who is athletic, who will obviously favor him as a wide receiver one target, I think you're going to see a big time season from Garrett Wilson. Now, again, do the Broncos end up pulling this one off? I do have them winning this one, and pretty convincingly as well. Not to say that it won't be tough, because heading overseas is always a struggle, but I have them winning this one 27-14, with maybe a garbage time touchdown thrown in for the Jets at the very end to make it a little bit closer than it originally appears. Now, if you agree with my very first two picks, do me a favor. Say yes or say no. Super easy question. Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you don't agree with me, at least let me know why. The only disagreement that I think you could probably say is that we end up beating the Philadelphia Eagles, and I would love to know your strategy for that game. Let's head on to week 3. Houston Texans. This is about 3 weeks later in week 9. And I have said that the Texans right now are a very even matchup for the Broncos. And I believe that to a certain extent. I don't think their defense is nearly as good, but they certainly have some star-level players, some Pro Bowl caliber players on their team, that we have to talk about. Because the guys that make plays for the Texans are really good football players. So there's 5 of them, again, like I wanted to point out. C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, a wide receiver, cornerback Derek Stingley, who we'll talk about here in just a second, Will Anderson Jr., and Danielle Hunter. You are probably looking at Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter as one of the best edge rushing duo combos in the NFL. One of the best. I don't know that you could call them the best, but the one guy that I wanted to highlight was Derek Stingley Jr. Outside of Pat Surtain, this is probably the second best corner in the league. He makes the most per year. He's the highest paid cornerback in the league, and he was a stud last year. 18 pass breakups is outlandish. Now, I don't think he's quite at the level of Pat Surtain yet. He's got to prove that he's able to do it year in and year out like Surtain has. But he is a very talented player. So going up, Cortland Sutton will most likely be on Stingley and vice versa. It's going to be a tough one to go on. And I do think, though, that with how good this Broncos defense is, especially this pass rush, and how bad the Texans' offensive line is, I'm going to say the Broncos win this one really close, 24-23. There might be a last-minute field goal that happens in this one, but the Texans are a good football team. Make no mistake about it, they're going to win their division, and they're going to give fits to anybody that they meet in the playoffs. Now, if you believe the Broncos are going to win 10-plus games and also make the playoffs, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button. We are 25 subs away, like I said, from beating that May sub record. So all you got to do, hit that big free red sub button and lock us in for free Broncos content all year long. Let's go on to the fourth one, the Commanders. And if you would have asked me last year at this time that the Broncos, the Broncos are going to play the Commanders next year, is that an easy win? I would have said, hell yeah. But then Jaden Daniels came around and things changed. So let's briefly break down the Commanders, because while I don't think they're going to be nearly as good as they were last year, I still think that you are looking at a team that is easily going to make the playoffs in the NFC. And that, of course, is led by their stud second-year quarterback, just like Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, who, in my opinion, sorry, Broncos fans, if this makes you upset, but I did think he deserved to win Rookie of the Year last year. He just played too well. He went the furthest in the playoffs. It just kind of all came together for him to win the award. But Terry McLaurin, who might be on the way out there in the D.C. area, we'll keep an eye on it. Marshawn Lattimore, who they recently acquired last year, and Bobby Wagner. Now, out of all the players that are currently on this list, the one that obviously we would want to highlight would be Jaden Daniels, but I don't even think we need to go into his statistical season last year. We know how good Jaden Daniels is. Everybody watched it last year throughout the playoffs. So here's my prediction. The Broncos lose this one. Now, I'm sure you could probably make the argument that the Broncos are a better overall team, and you might be right. But every once in a while, when you go up against a really dynamic quarterback who gives you fits not only in the passing game but in the running game, anything can happen on any given Sunday. And this is one of the games where I actually have the Broncos losing 31-27. It's going to be really close, but these are two really good football teams going back-to-back to each other. And finally, on a white Christmas, the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Week 17. Look, you guys know the Chiefs. I know the Chiefs. We all know the Chiefs. And it felt like last year the Broncos had their number both times that they played. A blocked field goal away from winning that first matchup. And then last matchup, Kansas City rolled out their JV squad. So the Broncos easily won that. It wasn't even a contest. Now the Chiefs' strength, as it currently is on their roster, Mahomes, Kelsey, Pacheco, Chris Jones, and Rashee Rice. Those are probably the five guys that you have to worry about. Kelsey's getting older. His best days are behind him, but Patrick Mahomes is right in his prime. Pacheco is coming back healthier than he was last year, and same with Rashee Rice. But it's Christmas, and I'm feeling very generous to you, Broncos country. They win 30-26. I do think we split with the Chiefs, so I could easily see the Broncos losing that first matchup in Week 11, I believe it is. But the Broncos are going to win one game. And I think you're going to be looking at an orange Christmas in Denver this year. Broncos win 30-26. So my final record prediction still remains the same, 12-5. And I think that is good enough to win the AFC West. And I think the Broncos end up getting either the second or the third seed in this year's AFC playoff seeding. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Remember to subscribe if you haven't, like the video if you haven't, and as always, be cool. What do you guys think? Daniels is a baller. It's going to be a fun year to watch, guys. I'm telling you right now. It's going to be a great year to watch. I'm dreaming of a white. Now I've got Christmas music stuck in my head, Dylan. Christmas in June. Hallmark does a Christmas in July every single year. Go Broncos, says Victory Lap. Absolutely. Go Broncos, my friend. Okay. Well, my stomach hurts a little bit from all the Red Bull. But I'm not going to stop drinking it because it's delicious. Bo was not far behind. I will give you that, Honey Bear. For sure. But if you watched what Daniels was able to do, not only in the regular season, but also in the playoffs, he was unbelievable. I mean, I have never seen in my entire life a rookie play as well as he did last year. It was one of the greatest rookie quarterback seasons I've ever seen. So he absolutely deserved it. But if you were to ask me for longevity purposes, like who would you rather have in 8 years, 9 years? I'm going Bo. 10 times out of 10. His skill set will translate far beyond just the few years of, dynamic play that Jaden Daniels is going to give you. And don't get me wrong, Daniels for the next 6 years is going to give people fits. He's going to be like Lamar Jackson. It's going to be tough to stop. Thank God there's not two Lamar Jacksons in the AFC. You know what I'm saying? We've already got Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow to deal with. Could you imagine if Jaden Daniels was in the AFC? Good luck. Oh. Got some people exchanging emails back here. Back and forth. Back and forth. Remember, if you do want a super chat, any amount is greatly appreciated. We've already made $50 from our friend Bossman Jay. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get to a mailbag episode today like we usually do, but that was by design. So if you do want to get your super chats in, we are greatly appreciative of anything that you want to give us, and we will, of course, put you up on screen and make sure that you get the proper shout out that you deserve.
I think Mark has a pretty good take.
I'll let you read that one off, Dilly. Go ahead.
I think Jaden Daniels may experience a quarterback sophomore slump during the 2025 regular season. And we just saw that with C.J. Stroud.
We did see that with C.J. Stroud, but I'll fire one back at you. Was that because C.J. Stroud got worse, or was that because he lost a bunch of his wide receivers, all three of his big three last year, at some point in time, and his offensive line was terrible? I agree with you. He took a slight step back.
It does play a factor. I think also it's now the coaches have a year under watching the film of whoever it is. So now they know who Jaden Daniels is and what they're capable of. I think it's going to be a different approach, and it's really going to be up to him whether he can go ahead and combat that.
Look at Dilly. You could be an analyst, Dilly. You could be an analyst. I guess that's why they love you over at Vikings Now. By the way, in case you didn't know, Dilly does run the Vikings. He's the producer for the Vikings channel. Him and Patrick Seatman do a great job over there. If you were in the AFC, I don't know that I'd allow you on this show. I'll give you your NFC, northern skull stuff over there. That's fine. That's fine. All right. We've got one more segment. This one's based a little bit more in something that just recently came out. It's about Drew Sanders and what his role is going to end up being in 2025, considering the Broncos signed Dre Greenlaw and are getting Alex Singleton back as your primary starting linebackers. So I decided to go through and kind of give my take as to what I see Drew Sanders becoming in the 2025 season. And I have a nice little interesting basketball comp for you that we'll get in. I'm not going to give it to you right now, but it is in this episode. Whoo. All right. Almost ready here, Dilly. Let me pull up my stuff real quick. Sweet. All right. Appreciate everybody who's sticking around for the entirety of the show. You are all real ones. You ready, Dylan? Let's do it, my friend. Let's get into Drew Sanders and everything about what Sean Payton said about him. One of the players that I feel like all Broncos fans have a serious question about is Drew Sanders. What's he going to be like as an NFL player, considering he missed almost the entirety of last season? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and that is what we are discussing on today's episode. Drew Sanders, what is his role going to be in 2025, considering all of the moves the Broncos have made in free agency? So let's start with what Sports Illustrated, which is the article that I'm taking this from, had to say about Drew Sanders. The Broncos head coach Sean Payton revealed earlier this offseason that Sanders had officially moved back to the inside, that inside linebacker spot, and that he would stay there. We also learned that from both Payton and George Payton that the Broncos still fully believe that their former third-round pick out of Arkansas is a future starter. Now, I'm going to break down everything about Drew Sanders in kind of his style of play and how I envision him becoming a role player for the Broncos in 2025. But if you want a shout-out, I'm giving shout-outs on the next episode. That'll be tomorrow. So all you got to do is click the share icon, post it to X, and tag me on X. Super simple. 3 steps. And if you do that, I am giving full shout-outs to everybody that does that on X right now. So click that share icon, post it to X, and then tag me, and boom, you'll be featured in the next Broncos Breakdown episode. So Vance Joseph echoed the sentiments of Sean Payton, and he said that he believes that Sanders can be used as, quote, a pressure player. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, what's a pressure player? Well, I'm going to explain that here in just a second. The article goes on. A pass rusher the Broncos can send from various places. And we know how much Denver's defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph, loves to blitz. Hyper-aggressive defense. Sanders has shown a propensity for the pass rush, notching 9.5 sacks in his final year of college, despite playing inside linebacker and notching 100-plus tackles as well. So, if we talk a little bit about Drew Sanders, the player, there is a big question mark because we don't know what he's going to be. A former 2023 third-round pick out of Arkansas. He spent the majority of last year on the PUP list, and that, of course, was because of a torn Achilles between the 2023 and 2024 season. I'm not so sure what Drew Sanders is going to be because he's kind of a hybrid linebacker. He's a player that can not only get after the quarterback, but can also drop back in coverage and kind of be a surveyor of the field, that center fielder, if you will. And if you look at the way that the Broncos linebacker room is currently constructed, let's say that, you're getting Alex Singleton back. You signed Dre Greenlaw. Jonathan Cooper's an edge rusher. So is there a world where, as a rotational player, Sanders gets in more often than not? And I think it's absolutely possible because Sanders will have the sixth man position, kind of like they have in basketball. Think about it. What does the sixth man do? Comes off the bench immediately and gives immediate relief and solid production to the starter. That's where I believe the Broncos are going to have him this year. He still has to get through an entire season fully healthy outside of his rookie season. And remember, during his rookie season, he played in all 17 games, but only started in 4 of them. So really, we've only seen a handful of starts from Drew Sanders that, we can even use as, kind of like production and what we view him already as an NFL player. So I want to just take a look at his career stats for right now. And actually, believe it or not, I don't know if this is necessarily correct. I could have made a mistake here, Dilly. This is my fault. We're going to pause it real quick. 1 second. I apologize, guys. This might be my fault. Hold on. One second. Oh, no. I am correct. I guess I did my homework correctly after all. It just doesn't look right, does it? No? Here, let me check one more time. Hold on. Gosh, Trace. What are you doing? I apologize, everybody. One moment. No, this is correct. It just looks wrong to me. It just looks wrong to me. Okay, let's take it from... Yeah, let's take it from that six-man position. How does that sound? You guys get to see how the sausage is made. Every so often, we make a little flub up. It happens from time to time. That's my fault. I apologize. Okay. So I'll take it from Sanders, six-man. We'll jump right in. Okay. I believe that Sanders is going to have the sixth-man position, kind of like an NBA player once had. Think about it. What does a sixth man do? A sixth man comes in immediately off the bench and gives immediate relief and still solid numbers in production for the starter that he's subbing in for. Now, I look at Sanders and I say, I'm not entirely sure what you are yet because the sample size that we've had in his career numbers, there's not a lot to go on. He's played in 21 games. He's only started 8. He's got a combined 32 tackles, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery. And that's about it. So we really don't know unless we go back to his Arkansas days, which, again, it's a completely different game. It's apples and oranges from college to the NFL. So how do we know what Drew Sanders is going to end up becoming? Well, it's, of course, all speculation, but I believe that having a rotation and a guy to learn behind like a Dre Greenlaw and an Alex Singleton is going to be crucial for Drew Sanders if he ever wants to become an eventual starter on this football team. So I'm going to ask you this. Will Drew Sanders have a bounce-back season? Yes or no? Super simple question. Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm saying yes, but I don't necessarily know what that looks like from a statistical standpoint. I'm going to have to do my homework a little bit more, but either way, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Now, before we get on to the next part of the episode, the 4th of July is right around the corner, my friends. So if you want to combine the best nation in the entire world and best football team on the planet, Combine them together, you get this shirt. It's only $29.99. Made it super simple for you. Go down in the comment section right now or chatsports.com/4th and start shopping with our friends over at Fanatics today. Sweet shirt. Love it. Thinking about getting it for my trip up to Minnesota here coming up in just a couple of weeks. All right. Now, I do want to talk about Dre Greenlaw and why I believe he's considered a riser in the 2025 season. Obviously, last year, not his best. In fact, he only played in 2 games. So injuries have been a big concern for Mr. Greenlaw. It's obvious. We don't have to talk about all of the injuries that he's had. We know what we were getting when we signed him. With that being said, though, there is an opportunity, if he remains healthy, for this to be one of the best free agent acquisitions in the entirety of the 2025 free agency period. And one of the coolest things that I found from Dre Greenlaw when he said why he decided to sign with the Broncos was this. Dre Greenlaw claims his main reason for joining the Broncos was to be Michael Jordan. The GOAT. The best basketball player that's ever lived. Now, why does that send goosebumps up my spine? Because he's got the killer mentality. And he clearly views himself as Robin to what his Batman was, or Pippin to what Jordan was in San Francisco, that being Fred Warner. And if you take a look at Fred Warner's career numbers, this is insane. Like, unbelievable. Canton, Ohio is calling Fred Warner very, very shortly. He is a Hall of Fame linebacker, one of the best in San Francisco 49ers history. And Greenlaw has always kind of lived in the shadow of Fred Warner, and for good reason. If you're going to be behind a guy in terms of like how good you are, at least make it the best player or the best linebacker in the NFL. And yes, Fred Warner is probably the best linebacker in the NFL. So how does Greenlaw become the Michael Jordan of the Denver Broncos defense? Well, you can primarily focus on your priority areas. Continue your elite coverage skills. That's where he is in his bread and butter. That's his bag right there. Choose your times to be aggressive. Don't get overly concerned about making the play that doesn't necessarily need to be made. The Broncos defense is so loaded this year, players will make plays. It doesn't always have to be you. Establish your communication skills. That's probably the biggest one. He wasn't the Mike linebacker in San Francisco. He's going to have to learn how to call the plays, call the shots, and get everybody in the right spacing when they're on the field. And then also this one probably should go, as kind of like a back burner one, but more so on like his body. Prioritize your body work to stay healthy. There's reasons guys like Max Crosby put so much money into their body every single offseason. It's because they value their availability, not getting hurt, always being available. Now, injuries, again, they're part of the game. They happen. Every single player at some point in their career is going to go through an injury. So hopefully he's got all of that out of, the way. But I feel like if you prioritize these 4 key things, you can absolutely become the Michael Jordan. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the GOAT, but the primary player on the Broncos defense at that linebacker position. That's clearly why he valued signing with the Broncos. So go be Michael Jordan. Work harder than everybody else. Bust your ass. Show them why it was your time to shine and become the LB1 of a football team. Fred Warner has been doing it for years in San Francisco. Now's your time to shine, Dre. I believe in you. Got to stay healthy, and you got to focus on the things that I just listed there, and I think it absolutely can be done. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Remember to subscribe if you haven't. Like the video, as always. Be cool. I apologize. That's my fault, guys. That is my fault. That is my bad. Every so often it happens, You make a quick mistake. They just didn't look right. The numbers did not look right. You got to admit with that, right? I was like, did I get a 1 season But no, that is absolutely correct. I'm looking at those numbers right now. Those are his numbers. That's crazy. All right, we did get a nice little $5 super chat while we were doing that from our guy, Honey Bear. Did you see Drew Sanders at the end of the year? He's huge now. I think he's going to surprise everyone this year. Yeah, he's clearly prioritized his body. That's for sure. Sean Payton said he had a very, very good and is still having a good offseason. I'm excited, guys. This is a super talented defense. Like, if Drew Sanders is your sixth man, based off of the talent of what we saw from him in college, he was all over the field. Like, this is going to be a scary, scary unit. 100%. All right. That's going to do it for the show. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to let's put a little 5-minute timer on it there, Dilly. Super chat timer. And we will allow you guys to get any last-minute super chats if you want to get in there. And then we will end the show as we always do until next Tuesday. So let's talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Throw something up in the comment section. I will absolutely answer it. But obviously, if you super chat, I'm answering that first. We got 36 people still watching. Whatever you guys want to talk about, could be Broncos related, could be me related, could be Dylan related. I don't care. Let me know in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Actually, let's not talk about politics right now. That's the one thing I will say. Let's not do that. I don't want the chat to blow up. No mailbag today, Aiden. That is correct. It was by design. Just trying to switch things up a little bit. We'll probably end up going back to the mailbag next week, but I wanted to, get a little bit more content out that wasn't necessarily mailbag related. However, again, I know it's one of the fan favorites here on the show, so it won't go away forever, just this week. Broncos' new chief technology officer. Yeah, who was that again? They took an NBA guy, I believe. No, I'm serious. My favorite sports teams, the Denver Broncos, the Chicago Cubs, and Notre Dame football. Yeah, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Good call. Yeah, how'd you know that? You know me better than I know me. Let's look at this real quick. My apologies. One quick sec. Oh, by the way, did you guys hear about the Russell Wilson contract leak? Did you hear about this, Dylan? I was getting updates about it all day. Russell Wilson, when he came to the Broncos, asked for a 7-year, $350 million contract, fully guaranteed. That's $50 million a year, fully guaranteed. Is that not the most insane shit you've ever heard in your life? Can you believe that? Unreal. Seven years, $350 million fully guaranteed. I don't think you would even give that money to Mahomes. Like, you can't make $350 million fully guaranteed. If you offered that same contract to, let's say, like a Patrick Mahomes, obviously he's worth more than that now because $50 million is low end. But you would have to make, you could make like $300 million of it guaranteed. $350 million is nuts. $350 million is nuts. Snoop Dogg. If the Broncos were to make a trade, what position do you think they would target? A trade right now, it's tough because the Broncos team is so loaded. I would say probably wide receiver. I think they're happy with the progression of their wide receivers right now, but let's just say hypothetically, maybe we'll make a video on it. Terry McLaurin has been requesting a trade. What if the Broncos decided that they were going to go all in on Terry McLaurin? What would a trade look like for that? Like, you would have to give up not only some draft capital, but you would have to probably give up a player or two, right? You would think. Just a second round pick overall? I'd make that deal in a heartbeat. For Terry McLaurin? Could you imagine Terry McLaurin and Cortland Sutton side by side? That'd be insanity. Yeah, but McLaurin's way better than Pickens. True. Running back trade. No, not really. Considering we just signed JK and we have RJ, I think they're happy with their running back situation. What? What'd you say? Michigan better than Notre Dame, huh? Looks like he's a Blue fan. I'm not going to say anything. He's entitled to his opinion. That's fine. He's wrong. Only one of those teams made it to the national championship last year, although Michigan did win it the year prior. So I guess I don't have too much to talk about. But my Notre Dame Fighting Irish are going to be a hell of a football team this year. All right, 5 seconds left. If you think the Broncos win 10-plus games, hit subscribe for me. Make it super easy. It's free. We're trying to get up to 37,000. We've got a couple of months to go until our first game, by the way, and I can't wait for it. Training camp starts in about, it's less than a month. July 16th is when the rookies report, but the actual training camp with all of the team members doesn't start until the 24th. So it's actually 1 month away from today. He said, I'll stand on my words. That's fine. You totally can. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, go Bucks. Well, he kicked our ass up and down the field. Ty, man, you definitely destroyed us in that game. So I'll give you credit where credit is due. You had an unbelievable team last year. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's Broncos Breakdown episode. My name is Moose. Remember, excuse me, next week, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Mountain Time, be here or be square. I don't know. Square. We're going to be back next week, same time as always. Broncos country, be cool.